Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melanie. I make videos about living in Copenhagen. In today's video I'm going to talk about the concept of 15-minute cities, which has been around for quite a while. I'll put some links below if you've not heard of it and you want to read more about it, but it has become victim of culture wars and conspiracy theories. So I thought today that I would choose an address. It's an address I know well because I work in a shop here, but I've chosen 69, Istedgade 69 in Vesterbro, Copenhagen, and I'm going to show you how in this area you have everything at your fingertips within a 15-minute walk, including recreation, healthcare, schools, food shops, culture, all kinds of things. So we're going to walk from this address and I'm going to show you what is within a 15-minute walk of here, and to show you how the concept of 15-minute cities is not necessarily a new thing. It's how we always used to live, and how it can boost an area and it can help keep an area vibrant. The IPCC say that 15-minute cities can reduce emissions in an area by 25% because people aren't travelling to different places. Of course, in Copenhagen that might be a different figure because a lot of people use bikes and public transport. So we're going to go and we're going to have a walk around. I'm going to show you what it looks like behind the apartments here, and then we'll take a look around the street and what's in and around the area. These apartments were built, these are more modern over here, but these apartments were built probably towards the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, and they were built around a courtyard like this. So everybody has access to green space, private green space behind their apartment. So already you're getting a feeling that this is an area where it's been designed around people and around the community that exists here. This is a lovely one. They've got, you know, raised beds, etc. And it just depends what the people within the building like to do. But I think this is a pretty normal courtyard behind a big block. And these flats here, these apartments all the way around, I mean, they are a street block, as it were, in the area. And they've got lovely balconies. And this is going to be our starting point for this video. Okay, this is Vesterbro swimming pool. It's located around a 14-minute walk from the location that we're talking about today, and obviously it's about a 5-minute cycle. So you can see it's a public swimming pool and it's been here for quite a few years, so it's not a new facility in the area. I mean, you can just see it's quite retro there, and it has a long swimming pool inside, and you can get swimming lessons there and just enjoy a swim in the... If you're a religious kind of person, there are at least 4 churches within the 15 minutes of the address. And as we're walking up here, I'm coming up towards Istedgade Park. There's a school here. Now, just a point of note about schools in the area. Again, we have multiple schools, and apart from one which is an international school, the European School of Copenhagen, which is slightly more than a 15-minute walk from the address, they're all state schools, or folk schools as they're called here, and they take kids from the age of 6, which is the age you start school, up to sort of probably, I don't think that there are many gymnasiums here, but they take children or students up to the age of 16. So that's all within a walking distance of the address. And you are offered, when your child gets to the age where they're going to be starting school, you're offered a place in your local school automatically. I'm not going to film children over there, but that is one of the schools here. Again, when we're talking about 15-minute cities, a lot of people are talking about new investments, which is obviously very important for some areas. But as you can see, traditionally, this area has this kind of 15-minute cities concept already here, and it is something that in the past was just the norm, that you would have access to these facilities around where you live. That's why I chose this area of Vesterbro to talk about, because most of the things that I'm talking about and showing you today have been here since the beginning, or the sort of the first half of the 20th century going into the mid-century times. So it's not a new concept, but it is one that works. now we're in Enghave Park. This park has recently been, over the last 5 or 6 years, been renovated, and it has drainage underneath it, which means that if there's a big cloudburst or lots of rain, then it drains off and protects the buildings around here. But this park is beautiful. It was laid out in the 1930s, and you have this area here which is part of this drainage system, but it's also a beautiful pond. You've got basketball courts, you've got sunken courts over there. As you can see, a lot of the kids from the school nearby use this as at break time. They come over here because a lot of schools don't have green space within the school itself. Over there you've got a manned playground, which is for younger kids to play in, and you can see there's apartments all the way round. So this park was laid out originally to give the people who live in these apartments some green space. This is only a 6 to 7 minute walk from the address on Istedgade, which we're using as our kind of place that we're giving the example of how you can live in a 15-minute city. And this is beautiful. Now, across the way here in those buildings that you can see directly in front of us, there is also like a day centre for elderly people, and you'll often see them sat out here in this beautiful garden area at lunchtime having their lunch together. And in this area, as I say, there are plenty of schools. There are also plenty of daycare facilities as well, although getting into them can be fairly competitive. But you do have them in this area. Over the far side of the park over there is a pétanque club, and in the buildings directly there is a pharmacy. So all of this around here is within a 5 to 7 minute walk of the address on Istedgade. We also have a metro station up here, which I will walk us up to in a moment. And across the way here is the library and a culture house. Again, these things have been here for decades. They're not new facilities, but they are all in this sort of area around here. It's not been planned in the sense of a modern 15-minute city, but it is traditionally here. So one of the arguments that people have about 15-minute cities being a new concept, if you're my age, in your 40s or older, if you cast your mind back, this is how we used to live. We used to live in 15-minute cities. We used to live in areas where everything we needed was in walking distance. And with the metro station just up here, that means that the rest of the city is also very, very accessible. When they built the new metro ring line, the idea was that no resident in the centre of Copenhagen would be further than, I think, a 20-minute walk from a metro station. So over here we have the library. I'm going to put a little card above where you can see I made a video about this area in relation to the famous Danish author Thor Dilson. But it also shows you a little bit of what the area looks like. So all of this recreational area here is very close by. There's also a skate park directly over the street and another church. So, you know, you can get your spiritual needs met here very easily. Let's just cross over the road. There are also bus routes down here which take you to different parts of the city. So it's a very, very central and accessible area. Now, as you learned from the other video, this was a traditionally very working class area, and it's become quite gentrified as time has gone on. But there are still some social problems here. I chose this as an area, so you've got a skate park over here. I chose this as an area because it's one that I'm familiar with. I volunteer in this area for the Red Cross. But I could have picked any number of areas in the city, from neighbourhood, which is a slightly more multicultural and less affluent area, to where I live in Amma. So there are lots of different sections, but I chose this because I thought it was a good example. Now, as we're coming up, there's a dog coming past me. As we're coming up, you see you've got a metro station just ahead of you here. So there you go, you've got easy access into the rest of the city. And Istedgade itself has lots of different cafes, bars, corner shops, greengrocers, all that sort of thing just on your doorstep. And a sort of a 5-minute walk in this direction over here, there is, from the address, is a Netto supermarket. but you have other supermarkets, but that's the one that's within easy walking distance. So we're going to carry on our walk up Istedgade, and I'll show you what there is to do down here, and also we'll get back to the address where we're talking about and using as our example hub for today. This square also is often used, and the park up there, for community events like flea markets, concerts, football. During the World Cup they put a screen up here and had football showing. There was recently a fundraising event for charities helping out in Ukraine, all in this area here. And we've recently had these flower beds laid around the metro, which I think is really beautiful. So you can see this is the metro station. The park is just up there ahead of us where we've just walked through, and this is a nice area. There's lots of seating around here, so when the sun comes out you can enjoy the sun. And down this street over there there's more bakeries, coffee shops, etc. Up at the end of this street here there's another school which is within minutes of the address, although there's quite a few boutiques along here and shops selling, you know, fancy clothes, etc. You've also got, which is fairly traditional I guess, you've got a shoe menders, a cobbler's over there. He's quite a character in there. He dresses like a sort of a, I don't know, 1930s cobbler, so that's quite a good place. And obviously they cut keys, etc. there. Up ahead is florists, kiosks selling, you know, beer, etc. Bakeries, and also in the street there are a couple of social projects. So we have Gang Girl, which is for homeless people, which is actually under threat of closure at the moment. They're running a petition on that. And Saxa Girl, which is a street up here, has a lot of social enterprises in it as part of a community group where they have shops and a cafe and various different things up there. And then opposite the Red Cross shop, which we're using as the kind of the location to show you this area, there is also a varmstue, which is a place for homeless people to go in the morning and the evenings and get something warm to eat, wash their clothes, etc. And now I'm just walking you down. I'm going to actually take a kind of a square block around before we arrive back at the address. But down here again there is another playground, and all these playgrounds are open after school times. They're either public playgrounds or they're ones associated with schools which members of the public can use after hours. So it is break time everywhere we're going at the moment, so you can see how the schools really utilise the public spaces that are here. This is another area with basketball hoops, general play areas where young people can play ball sports. And there's often criticism that playgrounds like this are very much aimed at young men and boys, because, you know, there's football pitches, there are things that are traditionally attract boys to play in them. But you'll find these ones also have kind of sitting and meeting spaces, which are the kind of things that are aimed, that, you know, girls like to use if they're going to hang out and be in a public space like this, which is really nice. They've obviously got some event going on. They're filming something here. I don't know what this is all about, but it looks exciting. But it's got some football, so it looks like a football competition. So again, you know, we're very much using the community spaces for community events, and having a mixed use of an area makes it a safe place for all ages to be. And you have a very big mix of care homes for elderly. Like I said, there's that day centre up there, but then you've got schools, you've got churches, and it's a very vibrant area, and there's a lot of space that can be used by the community. So we're just going to get around the corner and we'll be back to the address. I'll do it without getting run over. Now, as I say, there's lots of public transport links here, so if you live in this area, it's easy to get to different places. But also in Copenhagen we have Share Now and various other different car share schemes where you can pick them up and drive somewhere and leave the car when you get there, so it gives you lots of opportunities. And there's a lot of green here as well, a lot of blossom trees at the moment. There's a really big playground just up the street as well at Istedgade, and it's actually been renovated, the entrance to it at the moment, so I don't think it could take you up there. But you've got a lot of open space and a lot of kids in this area, lots of young families, and there's a lot of facilities for them. But also, if you don't have children, it's still a good place to live because there's plenty of facilities around, as I say, the swimming pool, sports facilities. And there you go, there's a bus running at the end of the road. So now we're almost back to the address where we started. Some of this I've kind of done in reverse from the places back to the address, but we're going to head back there now. And I hope you found this video useful and interesting, and a bit of an insight into what a traditional 15-minute city can be, which isn't what people who criticise them seem to think that they are. So until next time, bye for now.